Alright. Years in the future, but not many.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Go.
A wayward vagabond records a stuttering step in the sun-bleached dust. Act 2. Alright? The Spur Beta Walkthrough by Tentacle Therapist, aka Rose.
No, I'll read this.
Yeah, you sure?
It's long. It's literally kind of just like going over what we've already done.
Alright.
I'd be inclined to dispense with the trite even under less pressing circumstances. Needless to say, I'll forego the inscrutable
ASCII
banner, which typically heralds the striking freefall of these documents. I'll also resist the urge to brandish any copyright marks, or the particular neurosis that concerns itself with the theft of the utterly mundane. I'll allow other deranged prospectors to stake claims on their worthless plots as the woods burn around them. My introduction will be sparse. There will be no majestic prose blustering into the sails of a galleon as we embark on this voyage together. Oh. Galleon? Galleon.
Yeah, Galleon.
Nor will there be any ham-fisted prose whipping its limbs under a bedsheet, like a ghost, for that matter. I won't set the stage or dim the lights. The mood you will see will be set soon enough. Since you are reading this, chances are you have installed this game on your computer already. If this is true, like many others, you have just participated in bringing about the end of the world. But don't beat yourself up about it. There was never anything you could have done to prevent it. The end is happening right now. As I type and as you read, I have come to understand that we were always doomed through our collective ignorance, and now further doomed by those few who know and struggle to flee. If you're lucky, you'll be among the smaller subset of the latter who are successful. What I mean is, while that game you installed is just one more grinding slab of rock sealing our planet's crypt, it is also your only hope to live. I'm presently faced with the same conundrum as you, and though I speak with more experience, my own outcome is far from assured. I will play the game, as much of it as there is to play, and record my findings here. If you want to live, you will do as I instruct. My condolences.
Alright. Fucking Mac and Me poster? How have I not noticed that? Well, anywho, I think they're fine.
This is so normal. This is what happens all the time.
Yeah. It's happened to me more times than I could count.
Yeah.
I'm sure everything's fine.
Yeah.
The kernel divides. The two halves go their separate ways, leaving behind the sprite portion. Boy! Oh, hold on.
Go back.
So we can watch the rest of this flash animation. Light and dark, something. That probably means something. I don't care, though.
Something. Whatever.
Whatever the fuck, I don't care. Think I care? Homestuck, I don't care.
Continue.
Boy. Huh? It's a guy. What is left of the sprite undergoes a mysterious transformation. For a moment, you thought you heard someone say boy, as if whispered in the periphery of your awareness. It was probably just your imagination, though. You there, boy.
Oh.
What's that? You there, boy. What? Looks different now. After you bit that apple, your whole house seemed to be transported somewhere. And the apple disappeared, and the kernel sprite underwent a transformation. Aside from the change in appearance, the transformation doesn't seem to have any relevant ramifications. A large bathroom. Good grief. What is it, boy? What?
You click on the text box.
The alchemator created the apple, or the tree that sprouted it, rather, right on time to save you from destruction. You're not sure if it can say the same for your neighborhood, though. You wonder what happened to your dad. Alright. No, keep moving. Believe me, you have no intention of turning your head to observe this dreadful thing. So much flavor depth. Why does this small man stand here? This Harlequin is always ready to serve you with illumination, whether you're reading a book or just enjoying a nice pipe. What is this? Okay.
Coasters, probably.
Yeah. What is the meaning of this rubbish? Okay, even you have to admit this one's pretty funny. Hee hee. Python. The ghost clown, do something with it. The ghost clown is called the Colonel Sprite, or rather, just the Sprite now, I suppose. You can't do something with it at the moment. The only thing you can theoretically do with it is Tier 2 prototype it, assuming that's still possible. Tier prototype the Sprite, or the thing you said. Do it. Alright? You are not the one who's supposed to prototype it. The Spurb server user is supposed to do that. Well, fuck. A small dessert tray? Useless. In retrospect, it's pretty funny when your dad pied you like that. Gotcha again by the old man. Vile, pay no mind to this filth. What is he even doing here? Playing with a ball or something? Clowns are stupid. Use just to reseal that opening there. Move this absurd edifice and exit your house, boy. His name is John, you nincompoop. Okay? Boy, who is this John? Do as I say. What would you like, boy, who is this John to do? Obey my commands, Jump. And those commands would be? I would like the boy to interact with his environment in a constructive manner. Maybe you should be a little more specific? Have the boy assess his current situation. I'm afraid I can't have the boy do that. Tell him to do it yourself. Very well. Okay. The instruction does not do anything at the moment. Okay.
It's scroll down.
This thing weighs a ton. You'd honestly be surprised if this game cursor could lift it, or at least not without significant expense of grist. Of all the places for Rose to drop this infernal thing, more than you feel. What's the word you're looking for? Of course. House trapped. Quit all this scurrying around. For the last time, this boy's name is John. Fine, John, return to your quarters. You go back to your bedroom, tiptoeing around this weird petroleum-based sludge. What? Now, John, respond to your friend unit. Alright.
John, are you there?
Hey, yeah, I'm here. And not dead, I think.
I know. I've been watching you scramble around the house like a lunatic. You should have answered me sooner.
Oh man, sorry, I was looking around for my dad, and I can't find him anywhere. Have you seen him?
No, I'm sure he'll turn up. We have more important things to address right now.
Yeah, like, where am I?
I don't know that either, but I've determined your neighborhood was destroyed by the meteor. Wherever you were transported, it saved you from the impact. I've been reading reports in the news. Over the last few days, there have been many smaller meteor collisions with people's homes around the world, and they seem to be getting bigger. Yours was the biggest they've identified so far.
Well, okay, so then I guess if this is all the game's doing, then the point is for us to save the world?
Perhaps.
Then we better get moving and figure this game out.
Yes, but wait. We should retrieve your PDA, yet again. It will help to keep tabs on each other while you investigate. I think I can get you closer to it if I can replenish our grist supply somewhat. There may be a way to recycle some that we've already used.
Okay.
I'll meet you out on the balcony.
Wait, Rose, one thing.
What?
You never wished me a happy birthday. Hello?
I was working on something to send you, but I was running late with it. I didn't want you to think I believed meager well wishes alone would suffice for the occasion. That said, happy birthday, John.
Ha, oh geez, that is silly. Anyway, thanks. First take the fabric item from the floor there. Alright. The towel? Why? Oh well, you're the boss. You capture-lock the towel. What now? Do as the purple text says. To the balcony! What even is... John makes his way to the balcony per your awkwardly worded request. Wait, take that, the blue wobbly thing. You whimsically decide to capture log the totem which was used to create the apple tree earlier. John recycled the grist as was dictated by your cohort. John cannot do anything with the grist as of this moment. That is up to the Spur player. I see. Yes, that will suffice. Rose deletes the perfectly generic objects. 6 units of build grist are restored to your grist cache. Rose expends the grist to drag a new plank from the balcony in the direction of your PDA.
Oh, that's precarious.
John, run across the precarious platform swiftly. John isn't sure about that. It's a long way down. Boy, I said make haste on the narrow catwalk. Who the fuck even is this? John is very nervous about the idea, and the strident tone of your commands is starting to make him a little upset. Fine, proceed as your level of comfort dictates. You cautiously walk within the range of the PDA. Rose retrieves it. Now take it.
Goodbye.
You grab the PDA, launching one of the Harley Quinn figurines into the night. You can kiss that one goodbye. Serious. Just one command will suffice, thanks. It looks like you're not the only one trying to locate your father after the disaster. Fedora Freaker and our thoughts along with Pipe Fan 413 and his enviable collection of pipes. Ah! Sorry.
The dark.
Yeah, just these boring men are uninteresting. Okay, open the boop, boop.
John, are you okay? You seem a bit tentative.
I'm fine, I guess. Since I got here, I feel compelled to do these weird things I don't really want to do. By some kind of voice that I can't really even hear. I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain.
Perhaps the early symptoms of an anxiety disorder, like post-traumatic stress.
Yeah, maybe, who knows?
Well, if you can pull yourself together, there are a few more things we should try. Like prototyping the kernel sprite again, if possible. We should hurry. My laptop battery won't last forever.
Okay, I'll go back inside. No, don't do that. Hop off this ledge onto that car. What? No, that sounds incredibly dangerous. Now you're just being a pest. Which turnip truck did you tumble out of anyway? Who are you? Years in the future, but not many. An unsealed tunnel welcomes hot air desert into its stagnant depths.
Oh. I think that's leading us to the next page. Go back. Oh.
No.
Oh. Okay.
Boy. You there, boy.
Oh, does it stop there?
Yeah.
Okay.
The fuck? Do you remember this happening?
Yeah, I do. I just think it was formatted a little differently when I read it.
Okay.
Oh, okay, perfect. It's another walkthrough.
Yep, your turn.
I hate these. Okay.
Winnie the Poop 2. Chaos Demon.
Upon connecting with the client user, you, the server user, will be met with a control panel allowing you to manipulate your co-player's environment. You will find that you are allowed to deploy 4 items at no expense. 3 of these are rather large machines, and 1 is a punch card. It's quite possible that you have already deployed some of these items before reading this. If that is the case, and you have activated the machine called the Crextruder, such that it displays a countdown, you must proceed to section A100 of this walkthrough immediately. The life of the client user depends on it, and if your co-player has activated this device in your environment too, then yours does as well. If not, please refrain from doing anything with the Crextruder aside from merely deploying it. This will buy us some time to think things through properly, and to go over the basics of the game before you find your soft, easily punctured head in the jaws of the lion. As mentioned, there are 4 items to consider, each playing a role in a process which appears to have a singular purpose: to manufacture objects out of thin air. The designers of the game, judging by the language used, regard this process as a sort of alchemy. This may allude to complexities in the production process yet to present themselves, but for now the variety of objects you're able to create remains quite limited. The items in questions are the Crextruder, again, tread lightly with this one, the Totem Lathe, the Alchemeter, and the Pre-Punch card. I will describe how these devices work in a conjunction with each other, and I will use the analogy of having a key made at a hardware store to help you understand. First, deploy all of these objects in a convenient proximity to each other. Be sure not to block doors or pathways with them. You can always revise the dimensions of rooms to make space for them, but I'd advise against this, or even experimenting with the function. Doing so comes at the expense of build grist, a commodity which appears to be at a premium at the onset, and one you'd be best advised to save for later. The crux shooter. Removing the lid signals the moment your life becomes a great whirling batshit pandemonium, somewhat resembling the chaos of an especially ethnic wedding.
Wow. What the fuck, Rose?
Somewhere, a soothed uncle deliberately shatters china on the floor, muddy livestock is decorated, and then lost track of. The question, whose mule is this, at times can be heard over the din. This is now your reality.
What the fuck, Rose? Jesus Christ!
Love 2009. But aside from that, it marks the beginning of a process I am about to describe. The countdown begins, yes, also an entity called the kernel sprite is released. But neither of these things are all that relevant to this process, to my knowledge. More on these things later. What is relevant is the unlidded crux shooter's ability to dispense cruxite dowels. It will dispense at least one, though I suspect it is capable of producing more. Given parameters I am not yet familiar with, in my key-making analogy, these dowels represent the uncarved pieces of metal which the hardware store employee retrieves from the drawer or a rack and sets about carving into a key. The two following items are needed to do the carving.
I know.
The pre-punch card. It is a simple Solidix card containing an item. There is evidence to suggest the specific item it contains is a variable from session to session. The card I deployed contained a blue apple. Yours may be different. It shouldn't matter, hopefully. Additionally, the card, as you may guess, is punched, like the one used with antique computing systems. The pattern of holes comprises data, which I believe corresponds to the instructions for creating the item the card contains. That it is pre-punched suggests there is a way to punch an unpunched card, possibly imprinting it with the data for the system item it contains, though no mechanism for this has presented itself yet. But the data on the card cannot be used to create the item directly. There is a middleman. That middleman is the totem lathe.
We know!
Keep going!
We just did this!
Yeah, I know.
Ah.
I skipped these the first time I read Homestuck.
Yeah, but we can't. You saw the wiki hat. We can't skip anything. It's so important that it said it twice.
This is essentially the key carving machine. It will carve into your cruxite dowel a pattern of grooves and contours, the sort which makes the key unique. I told you the first few acts are actually grueling. The instructions for this pattern are supplied by the punch card, which is inserted into the lathe pre-activation to configure its chisels. Once the dowel is carved, you have a totem serving as your key, which can then be used to unlock the card item through the alchemimeter. But at this point, I will diverge from my key making analogy and switch to a barcode analogy, which is not a terribly strenuous leap to make, since the concepts of a key and a barcode are essentially the same, one being a unique pattern of grooves, the other of varying black lines. The alchemimeter. If you place a cruxite dowel, carved or uncarved, on the alchemimeter's small pedestal, its robotic arm will scan the contours with a laser, hence the barcode analogy. This is the machine's way of reading the data originally imprinted from the card, and transforming that data into a physical object, though typically this is not done without expense, I believe. An uncarved dowel results in the creation of a perfectly generic object, which is a seemingly useless green cube. It costs 2 units of build grist to make, and I do not advise you waste resources on it. There appears to be many other varieties of grist, ostensibly used in combinations to create different sorts of items, which possibly offers some insight into the game's use of the term alchemy. But quite conveniently, there is an exception to this. Creating an item on the pre-punch card costs nothing. This is good, because creating this item turns out to be essential. Now that you know this, you can in your own time begin the process. Once you initiate it, naturally there is no going back, so best to be prepared. But you probably shouldn't drag your feet too long. As I mentioned earlier, this is your only means of escape. When you're ready, be prepared to follow the steps in the next section swiftly. A100, so your crux shooter is ticking. Do this to live.